As we discussed earlier in the program, there is confusion tonight whether or not masks will be compulsory on inbound flights from Australia. It comes as two New Zealand sisters from the UK tested positive for COVID-19 after transiting through Brisbane, and a 60-year-old man from Pakistan tested positive after transiting through Melbourne. Here's what the Director General of Health, Dr. Ashley Bloomfield, announced today.
What I've learnt about the flights from Australia to New Zealand, such as the one that the two cases came on, and indeed the case today who actually wore a mask throughout the flight. I asked my team yesterday to look at the option of requiring all passengers to wear masks on those flights, because it seems that people are coming from a whole lot of international flights and transiting through and then coming on, and just as an additional precaution, the advice from our infection prevention and control team was to make masks available. I felt it was important to require masks for the duration of that flight, so we're putting that in place as well.
Now, Air New Zealand has told us today, while masks will be available for passengers on flights from Australia, they won't be compulsory. And that's despite the Ministry of Health telling us passengers should be strongly encouraged to use them. The Airline Pilots Association has been calling for the compulsory use of masks for months. Its President Andrew Ridling joins me now. Andrew, are you clear on what the deal is here?
Oh, absolutely, Lisa. We've been recommending face coverings, as you said, for a couple of months now, and we're very pleased that the Director General has today picked up our recommendation and is going to go forward with it.
But it's only a recommendation, as you understand it. It's not compulsion. You don't have to do it.
At this stage, I think that's the case. Obviously, with the safety precautions that already are used upon aircraft, with the HEPA filters, the vertical airflows, masks just give us that extra piece of mitigation to not allow COVID back into New Zealand.
We've actually had a few people texting us just before you came on to ask about the quality of air in planes. So how good is it?
Yeah, well, the quality of air in aeroplanes is as good as any surgical operating theatre. The airflow is from ceiling to floor, and they use these things called HEPA filters, which take out about 99.9% of all particles within the air. So it's very, very safe. In fact, it's probably better than your operating theatre, to be honest with you, with everybody facing forward. The use of masks is just there as that extra mitigation to ensure it's not passed from one person to another.
So if the air filter is so good, then are the masks just to make us feel better?
Yes, I think so, but it's also to ensure that, that extra mitigation is there. We don't want somebody to pass this on an aeroplane. And as you know, masks are actually there to stop people passing it to the next person, not to stop you actually receiving it. So I think currently at the moment we've been advocating for airlines to have masks, as well as having some sort of alcohol wipe so that you can clean your own area around you so that you feel comfortable where you're sitting and comfortable with the people around you.
So have all your pilots been wearing them out of, their own choice?
Yeah, absolutely. We are supplied with masks and with sanitisation liquids when we check in and at our flight planning in Auckland.
So what's the uptake? Is 100% of the pilots that you represent, are they wearing them?
From what I've been told, yes, 100%. We wear them from beginning. Don't forget, we've been flying freight operations for the last 2 or 3 months through the whole of the lockdown. So our pilots have taken this quite seriously, and they take the whole situation in front of us very seriously.
So, given that it's not going to be compulsory, it's just a strong recommendation, do you see any difficulties here? Because who's going to be doing the encouraging? Is that going to be left down to other crew on the plane?
Well, as you say, it's a strong recommendation. We're hoping that the Director General will lift that to being a compulsory. This is what ICAO, who's the regulatory body of aviation, has suggested. IATA have come out strongly and said the same. And, of course, our international body of ALPA have been pushing the use of face coverings for some time now.
Andrew, while I've got you here, in the last sort of 48 hours or so, there are some new protocols for air crews, international air crews, and obviously your pilots will be included in this. And the guidance for what crews are supposed to do returning from offshore differs depending on whether their destination is considered low, medium or high risk. Are you clear which countries are low, medium or high risk?
Well, we actually haven't had that defined yet, but I think to reassure the public is that the pilots have been living and breathing this now for quite a long time. It's fairly new to you today. For example, if we go into China at the moment, we've been operating freight flights there. We are sent to an airport detention quarantine facility for the 24 hours that we're there. You're locked in your room. You can't leave. You're escorted by Chinese quarantine personnel. And then when you come to leave, you're escorted back to the aeroplane.
Do they stay at your door, Andrew, to make sure you don't nip out for anything? Is there someone actually at the door of your room making sure you're not wobbling off anywhere?
No, I don't think there was anybody outside the door when I was there, but there's nowhere to go. It's at the airport. They've overtaken the airport hotel there. But I think there is somebody on each floor. And so we've been living and breathing. It's the same thing in America, in Los Angeles and San Francisco. We are quarantined to our room. A little bit more trust there, but from the point of view, pilots are fairly responsible people. They don't want to bring this home either, remember. So
that's freight. Can you clarify when you'll be bringing passengers back and forward from Shanghai?
We've been carrying passengers backwards and forwards from Shanghai. I don't know. You'd have to ask the airlines that. That hasn't currently occurred at this stage. But we have been carrying passengers on different flights throughout the whole COVID experience so far.
And also with those sort of high-risk areas, are you completely confident that your crews are not mixing?
Oh, absolutely. From my perspective, on all the hotels I've been at, it has been taken very seriously, especially by pilots. And I'm suggesting cabin crew are exactly the same. We don't stay in the same facilities at a lot of the destinations, but where I've stayed with pilots, it's taken very seriously.
Are you going to be involved, your association going to be involved in working out which countries should be considered low, medium and high risk? Will you have some input?
I hope so. We've got representation on that. On that group. We've also got representation on the Trans-Tasman border group, and we're ensuring that we can put our, the knowledge we've gained from overseas destinations is pushed back into New Zealand as well.
Do you think actually a Trans-Tasman bubble is realistic at this point when we've got 3 new cases and they're all related to border?
Absolutely. I think if we're going to have New Zealand go ahead and we're going to build out of this, then we need to understand there is risk, and I think the Prime Minister has acknowledged this. But the solution is to mitigate that risk as best as possible, and hence coming back to the original question that is, or statement, that one of those mitigations is the wearing of masks and the use of sanitary wipes and that on board aircraft.
Appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us. That is the Airline Pilots Association President, Andrew Ridling.